Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the new video, and today we're gonna be speaking about risk management. So first of all, let's get into risk management and explain basically what risk management is, right? Most of you would already know this, but most of you know what risk management is, but there's a proper way of doing risk management, right? And this is what I'm gonna be explaining, which not a lot of people do, but I think it's a good point to touch base because this is what I do personally, right? So first of all, let's start with the basics. Now, how do you calculate risk management, right? So we're gonna start with the basic and then we're gonna move on. So let me delete all this from previous episode. So let's go into 1 minute. Let's say I find a nice entry right here, right? I want to short right here. So first of all, you look where you get filled, right? That's the most important thing. And then you look at your spreads, which is also very, very important because people don't calculate their spreads into their stop loss, which is most likely gonna get you stopped out before price hits your stop loss and then could easily reverse, right? So let's say, for example, I want this setup 2.4 pips stop loss, and let's say your spread is 3. I would take a 3 pip stop loss just to cover myself up, right? You want to be 100% sure, so you're taking a 3 pip stop, right? And of course this allows your risk reward to get from a 4 to 3, but this also allows, because when price is here, which is, let's say, 1.9 1.8 pips, price actually going to be here on your prop firm account because you have those spreads, right? And then you also want to leave some room for a liquidity grab. So essentially this candle would be like this, so this would be your stop loss, right? So this is actually quite realistic, and this is what you should do at all times, and this is also what you should do at take profits. So let's say this is my TP and spreads are 3, then you want to take profit 3.3 pips before, right? Because one spread is 0.1 pip, 10 spreads are 1 pip. So essentially, why is this? Because whenever price is actually here on your charts, is gonna be here, right? It's gonna be at this wick, but due to spreads, it's gonna be right here at 883, but actually it's at 880 because there's a 0.3 pip spread. So you gotta keep accounting with that. Now let's calculate how we could risk manage this, right? So you go to pay pips/tools/position/calculator, account balance 100k, let's say. I want to risk 1%, stop loss 3 pips, and you hit enter, right? And this is gonna be 33 lots. And I know that most of you will tell me that you could say, yeah, this takes a whole lot of time, this and that. So what you could do is actually, every morning you wake up, you copy and paste whatever this is, right? Let's say you calculate every pip for every lot size. So what you do is 25 lots is 4 pips, and you could do this from 1 to 10 pips depending on how big your stop loss is. Now my stop losses, they usually don't get bigger than 10 pips. They rarely do. And if they do, then I will calculate that manually. But for every pip stop loss, I already know how many lots I'm going to be using because I'm used to it. I've been doing this for a long time. I already know what my account size and risk is. So I kind of know, right? And let's say, for example, I'm risking 0.5%, then I'll just do 12 or 13 lots because I already know, or 12 and a half in this scenario. So this is also something you could do, and you could write if you don't want to go to this side every time, because yes, it does take some time and it could catch you off entry. If you're doing limit orders, then this is more easier than you. Also, I want to speak about limit orders. If you have spreads and you have a limit order, let's say this was your entry, if you're going to be realistic, you're not getting filled due to spreads. Now what you could do is, again, with the take profit, instead of having 884 as your entry, you take 881 as your entry. So whenever price is 881, price actually is 884 on the spreads, so you get filled. So you could also take pips into take profits and take stop losses. That's something you could consider doing, which I do most of the time because, I want to be certain that I'm gonna get filled. And you could go for the extreme, which is gonna be a little, or you could expand your demand zone a little bit. That could also work, but as I said, I'm using just spreads like for my take profit and for my stop loss. That could also work, right? So now we know how to manage, how to risk reward, how to calculate our risk management, right? So another point I want to touch on is whenever you go for setups, let's say for example you have A setups, B setups, and A plus setups, right? And then you have A plus 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 setups, or whatever you want to call it. This is a setup with the most confirmation. A setup which you are the most confident, you could risk more than 1%. Or a setup where you're not confident, let's say for example I'm going in a setup, I'm not so confident, I might risk 0.5%. But if I'm seeing a setup I'm confident in, I might risk 1 to 2%, because it all depends on the confidence. And on a live account, I would not advise this, but if you're on a challenge account, you could easily do this to scale your profits faster. And you should not rush a prop firm challenge, yes. But in reality, thinking about this, like, you're not passing a prop firm challenge by minimalizing losses, but just by growing your wins, right? So this is how you manage your risk as well. So I would keep an eye on all this. It's very, very important to keep your mental health as well, because that's also gonna make you more loss or more wins. It all depends on the mentality you have or the psychology. So this is kind of an easy video. I know it's short, but it's like an easy video to touch base on how to calculate your risk management. And if you did not use this, then it's time to use this, because if you go with the same loss every trade, let's say a 3 pip stop loss was 32 loss. If you're risking 15 loss on every trade, you're missing out on extra 1.5% profit just because you did not calculate it. So yeah, I would make sure to calculate all this. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Peace.